For thousands of years, a secret was just waiting, hidden silently in the soil of central Turkey. And it was something that would totally change how we understand ancient history, a document that's way older than most maps we know about. Today, we're going to dig into that very secret. So let me just ask you this. What if the first city plan wasn't drawn on paper or papyrus, but was actually etched into a hunk of clay 4,000 years ago? What if the whole idea of mapping our world, of defining our little piece of it, is way, way older than we ever thought? All right, so our journey begins at what honestly just looks like a simple mound of earth. An ordinary hill in modern-day Turkey. But as you're about to see, it is anything but ordinary. Yeah, this place is called Kültepe. And while it might look like a quiet, unassuming spot today, you gotta picture it 4,000 years ago. This wasn't just some hill. It was ground zero for a revolutionary shift in human history. This place held the key to how our ancestors actually saw and organized their world. So let's do a little time traveling. Go back with me way back to the year 2000 BCE, and I want you to forget the ruin you might picture today. Instead, imagine a vibrant, bustling, absolutely thriving metropolis. See, Kültepe was so much more than just a city. It was this incredible crossroads of civilizations, a place where different cultures and empires literally met. You could almost call it one of the world's very first global villages. It was this amazing multicultural hub of business and ideas. And a huge piece of this story involves the Assyrians. You had merchants coming all the way from what is now Iraq, and they set up a trade colony right here. They called it the Kanesh. And this outpost became the engine for a massive, incredibly sophisticated trade network. And just look at the kind of stuff that was flowing through here. The Assyrians brought in textiles, tin, and beautiful jewelry, and in return, they were trading for Anatolia's super valuable metals. We're talking about a complex, booming economy. So you're probably asking, how in the world do we know all this? Well, it's because the people of Kültepe left behind one of the most incredible archives ever discovered, a library made of clay. I mean, these people were meticulous, almost obsessive, record keepers. Every single aspect of their lives, from huge business deals and property sales, right down to inheritances and marriage contracts, was carefully etched onto these small clay tablets. And then they baked them, basically making them last for an eternity. And the sheer scale of this is, well, it's staggering. During excavations, archaeologists unearthed, get this, 25,000 of these tablets. That's one of the largest and oldest written archives in the entire world. It's just incredible. But among this massive library of text, this absolute treasure trove of information, archaeologists found one artifact that was completely unique, something that immediately stood out from every single other one. I mean, really think about it. Tablet after tablet is covered in cuneiform, right? That ancient wedge-shaped writing. It's all letters, numbers, legal jargon. But then there's this one. This one had a picture. It wasn't just text. It was a drawing, a plan, with lines and parcels and roads. It was a map. So, what was this ancient drawing for? Well, experts pretty quickly realized it served a purpose that is incredibly familiar to all of us today. This wasn't just some piece of art or a random doodle. No way. This was a functional, legally binding document. The lines on it represented property boundaries. They defined who owned what. It was, for all intents and purposes, the world's oldest known title deed. Let's try to bring this to life. Imagine a merchant, let's call him Puzurasur, living in this bustling city back in 1900 BCE. He's got a dispute with his neighbor over the boundary between their warehouses, so he commissions a tablet with lines drawn on it to prove his ownership. And that very tablet, that's what we're looking at, 4,000 years later. This single, small piece of clay has a massive impact on our understanding of history. It's kind of like finding a compass that points to the true north of civilization. And just to put this into perspective, right? The famous Babylonian world map, that dates to around 600 BCE. The Kültepe map is 1,300 years older. 1,300 years. This one artifact proves that sophisticated urban planning and the mapping of land began right here in Anatolia long before anywhere else we know of. So, what does this map really tell us? Well, it proves that 4,000 years ago, concepts like private property were already legally complex. It shows that this deep human need to organize and define our spaces is ancient. And maybe most importantly, it reveals that Anatolia wasn't just some crossroads for trade, it was a cradle of civilization itself. When you strip everything else away, this incredible historical artifact is about something so fundamentally human. It is the echo of a single person, thousands of years ago, making one of the most basic declarations possible. This space belongs to me. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? This one small tablet completely rewrote the history of mapmaking. And it just begs the question, what other secrets, what other fundamental human stories are still out there, just waiting for us, buried right beneath the surface?